Hello, Internet. My name is Power Guys Gaming, and welcome to the Powered Up Podcast. I'm your host. I'm joined by the Powered Up crew, Sleep with Sleep Shimo, and we have a featured guest, Tonka. Guys, say what's up, man.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, what you did saying?
Peach, why do you sound so defeated, bro?
What's the matter?
Let me explain. We're missing one of our fellow Powered Up members.
How do I say goodbye?
Big Imperial is missing. He's gone. He's disappeared. If you guys don't know who Big Imperial is, he's one of the guys that fell asleep during one of the other podcasts. But anyway, as you guys know,
made it.
as you guys know, in the podcast we talk about gaming and entertainment news. So I'm going to kind of tell you the topics we're going to talk about. So in the gaming side, we're talking about ESPN, ABC, and Disney. They're actually showing Overwatch League games now. That's Overwatch on TV. Woo, we made it. Fortnite Season 5 changes. Got Culling 2, and it's amazing. Anyway, and we're also talking about stock prices to do with Sony and Nintendo especially. And then also for the entertainment side, we're going to be talking about God of War. Apparently it's got a Netflix series coming up. Kylie Jenner, obviously the self-made billionaire.
There was so much sodium chloride in that the self-made billionaire.
Thailand's Cave rescue. They got a short film coming out on Friday, and obviously the Donald Trump protests in London. That had a lot of people. So anyway, with that being said, we're going to start off with the ESPN, ABC, and Disney showing the Overwatch League games. Overwatch, if anyone's not familiar, and the best way of playing it is it's a 6v6 hero team-based shooter. The idea is you're one team full of different heroes. You have to beat the other team at some sort of objective. Mainly, it's payload. I think payload is like the main objective that you play. We have to push. You have to push a payload, push a car all the way to the enemy's base. And it's kind of like an attack and defend kind of game mode. Overwatch been doing really, really well. They actually have their own esports league. And now ESPN, ABC, and Disney are kind of like, oh, we should get involved with this. So first things first,
Before we really start getting into it, I just want to let us know we made it.
we made it, right? First,
Get the camera.
Before we get into Overwatch itself, let's just talk about esports, man. Let's just briefly talk about esports. I want to say we talked about it in a couple of episodes back. I think it was episode 3. If you guys haven't watched episode 3, you should listen to it. You should definitely go check it out. And like esports right now is doing very well. It was always doing well anyway. It just seems to be getting more and more popular, more and more traction. The information I was told is that Overwatch League is getting put on ESPN. Currently, what I knew was that some esports that I watch, a lot of Street Fighter and stuff, that was on ESPN 2. So for it to go from ESPN 2 to ESPN, that's really, really great. First and foremost, guys, first question. Do you guys actually follow esports? Shima, I'll go to you first, man.
Other than like in the news, not really. No, I don't watch any. I don't really follow it. I'm aware of it, but yeah that's about it, really.
Fair enough. What about you, Sleep?
I keep up to date with certain things. So I do. I'm in some sort of same boat as Shima, but I will still tune in a lot of the time. But it's not something where I consistently watch something, and I think it's just because of just my general schedule. It's just one of those things where I don't really have time to really sit down and enjoy watching like a whole series and or the whole keep up to date, basically, like on a day to day.
Actually, I will. I'll watch Evo now and again.
Evo is awesome. Definitely should watch it if you haven't already. And what about you, Tonka? Do you watch any esports?
I think the main one I try and keep up with is Rainbow Six, rather than like the more like the league stuff like Dota and Overwatch. Just because I think they tend to be a lot of the esports at the moment tend to be quite similar, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of variation. Obviously, you've got stuff like Overwatch, you've got stuff like Fortnite. And they're very much just tend to be like battle royale or like these big objective based games. Whereas I think something that's a bit smaller, like Rainbow Six, I think that offers a different perspective that a lot of people often miss out on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that, because I watch a lot of of the fighting game community, esports. A lot of like Evo's the main big thing. Because that's like the home hub for all fighting games, really. And like, if anybody hasn't, this is to the viewers as well. If anybody hasn't had the chance to sit down and watch like a full esports like event, I recommend you do, because it's like done very well. Like esports has come a long way from like just like little small events. Now it's like on a massive stage. You got proper commentators, and to hear it's now coming. It's now coming to like TV and stuff, like on bigger channels and networks. That's really awesome. So anyway, into Overwatch. I'm pretty sure we've all played Overwatch here.
Actually, I haven't played Overwatch, to be fair.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it, but I've never actually played it.
I tell you what, just from personal experience, it's super duper fun. Don't get it on PlayStation 4 because the queue times are ridiculous. Get it on PC. It's amazing on PC. I played the competitive mode on PC, and I played the casual quick mode on PS4 because mine's not high enough level on PS4 yet. And like, it's just fun. The game is just super duper fun. I don't follow the league, the Overwatch league itself, mainly because I don't really mess around with Overwatch like that. But I can say, if there is any game to get involved with at the moment, it is probably Overwatch. If not Overwatch,
But isn't Overwatch just basically a rip of Team Fortress 2?
I think it's based on the same. Yeah, it's the same format, right? So Team Fortress 2 is like a hero shooter with an objective. Overwatch is the hero shooter with an objective. And if you ever played the game Paladins, I know Shumo and Sleep was up.
Played it to death.
Right? That's also like the similar kind of style.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, it's question time, I guess.
Sorry, real quick. The only difference I would say between Team Fortress 2 versus things like Overwatch and Paladins is the fact that it's on console. Because I'm pretty sure Team Fortress 2 is only on PC.
Yeah, I believe it's only on PC.
Yeah, so I think it was something to bring to the console market.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, no, wasn't it on
Orange Box?
console?
Orange
Yeah, the Orange
Box.
Box.
Oh my god, you blew my mind. Oh, the Orange Box, dude. I forgot all about that.
All right.
Man, I love the Orange Box.
Yeah, Orange Box is awesome. Yeah, man. So Overwatch, it's made by Blizzard. Yeah, everyone knows who Blizzard is. And when did they start their? They started their league. I think it was in 2016.
It wasn't crazy long after the game was out.
Yeah,
No.
It's got 12 teams. I think that's the maximum at the moment. I don't think there's any more than 12 teams. And I'm just gonna get up the schedule as of recent. It's obviously it's like worldwide, right? So you got quite a few teams in there. Who recently played on Thursday was Philadelphia versus Boston. London also versus Los Angeles as well. Which is crazy to me because I didn't know that it was like so worldwide. Like I thought it was very I thought it was very US based. Like most esports stuff is like very US based. So I thought it was very US based, but to hear like
I don't know. I think I disagree with you there. I think a lot of the esports, if you look at the like the popular esporting teams, even sort of like the card-based games, like what's the one you can download on your computer? Hearthstone. Yeah, you look at some of the Hearthstone teams. A lot of those tend to be from the Asian region and like the Eastern Hemisphere.
True say.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like even London's team, they're all like little Asian kids.
Yeah, bro. At one point when competitive gaming was sort of on a much smaller scale, it was the Asian region that dominated. So
before I get into the questions, I'm just going to read out the standings for you guys. Tell you who's first and who's 12th. First place is Los Angeles, and second place is Los Angeles. Of course.
I swear to God, if you say third place is Los Angeles, I'm jumping out the call.
No. Third place is New York. Fourth place is Dallas.
That's my guy.
Fifth place is Houston. Sixth place is Philadelphia. Seventh place is San Francisco. Eighth place is Boston. Ninth place is London. Shout out to London.
Represent.
Hey, we're not dead last.
We're not dead last. Shanghai Dragons is dead last. Okay.
Suck it, China.
Sorry. 10th is Seattle. 11th is Florida. And 12th is Shanghai. Vampire Dragons. Yeah.
Wait, so how is LA 1 and 2? Have they got 2 teams?
Yeah, so they have first place is Los Angeles Gladiators.
Because you know what it's like? It's like the NBA, because the NBA, it's the LA Lakers and Clippers. I feel like they're like, oh yeah, no, we're going to keep tradition. We've got to have 2 different sides of LA, and we've got to have 2 teams.
Right. Talking about NBA, actually, 2K have their own league. Their own esports league. They call it the 2K League. I couldn't believe it. Like, they had like the commissioner come out and like draft the people like it's a proper NBA like draft. This is all for esports. I was like,
yeah, they've got like a FIFA World Cup thing going on in the O2. Pretty soon.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not surprising though, right? Like, really, it's FIFA. FIFA's like one of the biggest selling games on console.
Oh yeah, and also football is also the most popular sport.
In particular, this year is like a World Cup tournament thing for obviously the World Cup.
Yeah, it's insane. But yeah. So question time now. Obviously, ESPN's already been supporting it. ABC, that's an American network. Right? Yeah. Yep. Disney, everyone knows Disney. Whatever. Do you guys think with these 3 starting candidates that are really like big candidates? Do you think all of a sudden all these little places, all these little networks now are going to start showing it? Are we going to now be getting say like a bear with me, like a Netflix or like an Amazon or like just on your day-to-day channel? What do you guys think?
So, wait, sorry, I just want to confirm that. You said who's showing it? ABC. Yeah.
ESPN and Disney.
Bear in mind, ESPN already been showing. Has already been showing Evo. And already been showing like E-League.
Yeah. So ABC, ESPN, and Disney. Right. It's important to note that Disney owns both of those companies.
Really? Oh my days! Disney owns everybody. Holy shit, man. No, I didn't even know. I didn't even know Disney owned those 2. Okay, I guess Disney just owns everything. Like, no, but the question, I guess still the question is, do you think this? One is it good? I think it's good. But one, is it good? And 2, with the help of Disney, do you think esports is now pretty much going to be shown everywhere?
I think it's only a matter of time before like the major networks like Sky and BT and whatever, they're going to start doing like, obviously you can buy like a sports package. You're probably going to start seeing stuff like esports packages as well. We're going to see like the mainstream cover. It might not be as popular, but it will still make them money. And I think that's the key here, is what they're going to look at is where can we make money. So it's really, rather than down to these big producers, obviously the big producers taking a step in the right direction is a good thing, but it's more going to be down to the community itself saying this is the sort of content we want to see in order to drive that change.
For me, I've always said this. I said this a while ago. I think I've been saying this. I think pretty much since before I knew any of you. I was saying there's going to be a point where esports is something that is commonplace, and like that's going to be what people will move towards, as in like the same way it's like a sporting career. So obviously with sporting, you train, you join a team, blah blah blah, all of this stuff. For me, I feel as though like this is something that was always going to happen. I could personally not foresee a future where esports would not be a thing that wouldn't be at some point commonplace. And I feel like it's moving even more towards that, especially because now people are understanding that you can actually make really good money from it. Like, what is it? I think we've thrown this up before, but 2016, I think it was a Dota championship or whatever.
Yeah,
when you converted the money over for how much one team won, and this is one team split in this big pot. They all basically walked away with like 1.27 million, I think, each. Like, what?
That's a lot of bread.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, for me, there's going to be a point where, think about it, we could have something along the lines of, so the NBA is basically the best basketball players realistically in the world, because if you're good enough overseas, you're going to come to the NBA.
Yeah, they call it the 1%.
There's going to eventually be something like that for gaming.
Well, yeah, I mean, the closest thing I think is the Overwatch League, because the players in the Overwatch League like have salaries. Like I think in America their minimum salary is $50K a year, and obviously I'm sure there's money to be won if you win the whole league. Or whatever.
Yeah.
like the thing you were saying about Dota and stuff. That's like, yeah, like that's a massive amount of money and
Yeah,
stuff.
but it's, like you're saying, it's the one
prize pools. It's like, yeah, that's like the equivalent of like a poker tournament kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, when you were saying like careers and stuff like that, I think, yeah, it would definitely go that way. It's starting already with the Overwatch League.
And it's not only just Overwatch too. So like all these other games, it's happening too. Like it's happening with Fortnite. It's happening with any game that has a competitive aspect where you can beat somebody. It's happening almost.
I think the thing you got to remember is that this sort of process has been happening for a long time now. Yeah? It's not just starting. You know, now it's becoming a lot more mainstream. But think back to when we were all playing COD 4.
Oh, legendary days.
You know, all anyone was talking about was wanting to join FaZe Clan. You know what I mean? Because FaZe were like the top tier at the time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so this idea of, you know, people wanting to perform at the peak of their game, this has always been around, and there's always been some sort of, no matter how big or small the league has been, there has always been that group of players that always want to, like, you know, be the best.
I
think now it's just
become
a lot more
now,
mainstream,
especially now with where we are society wise, and even you can say somewhat technologically wise. It's a thing where, like, before early days, it was in second gear and third and fourth. Now we're in fifth gear, 4,000 RPMs, and the turbo just kicked in. Like, it's going mad. Like, we can say that it is, like, esports right now is progressing faster in this period of time than it has in any other period, I believe. Like, it is growing so fast.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
I'm excited to see where it's going to go, because I actually want to start getting into watching esports, because that's one thing I actually want to start doing, like actually watching the league and finding a favorite team that I like and blah 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 and all of this stuff.
I used to play.
I was going to say, do you not have a concern though with how quick it's moving, that there's going to be potentially it's going to go too quickly and then trip over its own feet?
The only way that it, I don't see a thing where that could, like, so give me an example of how it would end up doing that, because that's what I don't see.
So let's say, for example, right, so like you said, we've currently got Overwatch, we've got Dota, Rainbow Six, etc. We've got all these games where you can do it.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, next week 20 games get picked up, then another 20 games. Eventually you're going to hit a position where if the demand doesn't meet the supply, it's just going to flop. Does that make sense? So I get the concept of it's taken off and we're definitely heading in the right direction, but do you not think that maybe it needs to be a bit more controlled, and we need to say, rather than like, you know, just adding more and more games to the pile, we actually need to focus on the games we currently do have? I don't think it's a case of there's too many games that are being played right now. I think and it's not a case of there's loads of games where, because I was just saying as a blank statement that anything that is competitive can be something like, because we're talking very large scale. Like, nobody really talks about, because, you know, there's basically different leagues of football and stuff like that, but it's still the same thing. It'll be the same thing like that. So there'll be like basically the top tier Overwatch ones, and then it would start trickling down to, like, rather than the best in the world, it'll be countries, and then out of those countries, particular regions maybe.
Yeah, but then that's one game. Just like football is one game, basketball is one game. I think what Tonka was getting at was, like, if it's growing so fast, will we get to a point where there are too many games happening?
That there are too many games happening at once.
Say for example, you've got, like, you do that with Overwatch, and then you also do that with Fortnite, and then you also do that with Rainbow Six, and then you also do it with Call of. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you have all of these games build up, and so it's like, well, if there's no support for the games that we currently have? I know we're talking about, again, we go back to the big money example of Dota. Obviously, we're not talking about that scale of money, but the money's got to come in somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, so you're saying it's a thing of it's splitting its resources too far and wide.
Yeah, exactly.
Not everyone can endorse everything.
Okay, that is true. But then wouldn't that also bring in opportunities for smaller companies to be able to? Because if all these big companies are already handling sort of the big ones, then it's the same thing as football. Like, smaller companies endorse the smaller teams.
See,
but it's the same game.
Yeah. So let me kind of. Yeah. I got a good way to.
I feel like I know where you guys are going, but I feel like I'm seeing it slightly differently for some reason.
I have a good way to kind of touch on everybody's point here, right? So the way I see a game making it to an esports level, because there's a difference between competitive, invitational, and esports. Like, competitive is just like, oh yeah, I can start a tournament, start a tournament in my back garden. We just play a tournament game, right? An invitational or like a smaller league cup is like just like a small online. You know, you sign up online on MLG, for example, or game battles or whatever you play. And esports is like you travel and you go to like your team's house that they have stationed up there. You're on salaries, whatnot, and you're getting paid to play on the big stage. Like the thing is, the reason why I don't feel like Tonka, your point, will ever get there is because for the game to get to the esports level, which is the top of the top, the community needs to get it there.
Yeah.
So it's not the game developers. They can't get it there. You know what I mean? Like,
like Fortnite wouldn't. Sorry, not Fortnite. Overwatch wouldn't be able to do what it's done if there wasn't such a big following for it. Sorry, that sounded like I was going to say more. There wouldn't be such a. It wouldn't be where it is now if the community was probably pushing for it.
Right, so
I completely agree with your point there, but obviously what you got to remember is at the end of the day, ultimately it's not us controlling what goes on the television. It's ESPN, ABC, and Disney at the moment. So obviously my counter argument there is, what if ESPN, ABC, and Disney look at how well Overwatch is doing, say, oh well, it's doing really well, we obviously need to start pumping out more content like this, and then that comes back to the original point of, if they start pumping out too much too quick, is that not going to do more harm than good because the demand can't keep up with the supply? And comes back to my original point of, are they not just going to trip themselves up because they're going to lose money because there isn't enough support there? Exactly.
But
so
wouldn't adding in the smaller leagues be able to sort of siphon some of the pressure out?
Completely, but that completely depends on whether that's what ESPN, ABC, and Disney drive the direction.
Oh yeah, that's if they do that. But I was just trying to provide a solution to the problem that you're proposing. Because for me, if they start siphoning, doing like small, like I was saying, smaller leagues, so you can still have the big stuff, but so the big stuff doesn't keep getting pumped out, and they're burning all this cash because obviously it's one of those things where it obviously costs them money to show this and whatever. They do the smaller ones on like obviously, and they're able to do it on a cheaper budget, and it's something that's more. I feel like it's a lot more closer to certain things because it's regions. So like for instance, you'd have South, the Midlands, the North, and everywhere else that's like equal. That's not South in it. And like it would be stuff like that. It would be smaller things shown on a probably most likely a cheaper budget, but which is alleviating the whole thing of not being able to not putting out the tournaments over and over and over and over and over for the big leagues, because obviously those are things that people really want to see. Like it's like how we have football and we have I think the biggest thing in football is usually like the World Cup.
Yes.
So that obviously only happens every 4 years, but then you have the Euro. That happens 2 years after the World Cup, and then 4 years, so it's always in between, and then you have regular seasons. I feel like it'll be something on that type of scale, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, I think I want to kind of round out this topic. All in all, I think esports has the potential to really go. Well, the sky's the limit, really. You're right.
Oh, definitely.
You're right when you say these networks can damage, can damage it, just like anybody who controls anything. But all in all, I personally think keep on going, man. Like keep on going, keep on
video games
making it. Yeah, video games. Yeah, keep on making them like so popular because for me, when I started playing games, it was like everybody just saw it as you're just wasting time. Or you spend hours and hours and whatever, it's wasting time. And like
calling me a nerd. Look at all of you now playing the same games I'm playing. You man,
right? You know what I mean? Like so now it's just awesome to see a big stage and to see it on TV. I did not picture it will be this fast. About 3 years ago, I said like 2020, 2022, that will be the time when it gets on TV because no one cares. I was fucking wrong because apparently everyone. So yeah, it's awesome to see the growth. Does anybody else have anything else to add before we move on to Fortnite?
Just want to say called it.
Right.
But no, cool. This is some esports has always been something that's inevitable, and it's something that will, I think, at some point, if potentially it could be on the same. It could be on very, very close terms with some certain sports. Not football, because football's way too large. But it will definitely be something where it can hold its own.
Right. It might be ice hockey. You know what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah. You know what? Calmly.
All right, man. We're gonna move on to Fortnite, everybody's favorite game. Season. yes, sweet. I know how much you love Fortnite. Season 5. Worlds Collide is what they call it.
Is that
finally dropped? Yeah, it kind of dropped. What, like 3 days ago, 2 days ago? I haven't played it yet. Please don't crucify me. I haven't played it yet, and
I haven't played it because I haven't.
With season 5, they added a bunch of new features. They added a new section of the map, a biome, desert. They added a new place. I think it's called Dirt Burger. I think.
Excuse me.
They added in
Dirt Burger.
I think it's like DURR burger. I think it's like Dirt Burger. And they added in a caddy. They added in a caddy, which I think can keep 4 people in it.
Whip
so
it like
squads,
a rental.
Yeah, if you're playing squads, you can have 4 people in it. So no longer do you need to use that stupid trolley anymore, that little shopping cart. You can now actually drive around in style. They added a bunch of other new stuff, but all in all, I just want to say Fortnite is really coming on, really doing well. Last week we talked about how I addressed. I don't think it was going to be able to stay strong when October, September come around and all the games come out. But you know what, man? I'm not gonna lie to you. If they keep doing this, right? Where every time they drop a new season, it just blows the internet up. Then they're just gonna keep going. So anyway, question time. How do you guys play Fortnite Season 5? Will you guys play Fortnite Season 5? And are you gonna buy the Battle Pass? Shimo, go first.
Yeah. So like I was saying last week, I've been playing it on the Switch here and there.
Yeah.
I guess I played Season 5 a couple of days ago. Although I literally only played 1 game. But I didn't see any of the new stuff.
Wait, did you win though?
No, I came third. I came close. So close, but my aim, the last person, or the person that killed me, was just horrible. I literally needed 1 shot, and I just could not hit her. But yeah, I think I might buy a Battle Pass this time around to give it a go. I think the season's going to last like 70 days or something. I saw on it.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll probably buy it on the Switch so then I can play it on the Xbox as well. But yeah.
All right. Sleep. Your favorite question, man. Are you gonna? Have you played it?
Yes.
Are you gonna play it?
No.
Are you gonna buy the Battle Pass?
No.
Why?
What do you mean?
What?
If I've played it, but I now will not play it, what's the sense of me buying a Battle Pass? It'll just be a waste of money.
It's 2018. Everybody's playing Fortnite.
Okay, it's 2018 and everybody wants to do certain things to themselves. It doesn't mean I have to be about it. Like raw. Like big man out here getting. You know what? Let's not even get into this.
you played it on Switch, right?
Yeah, I played it on Switch because I just recently got a Switch, and I was downloading a couple of free games like Pokemon Quest, Fallout Shelter, and then I was like, you know what, I might as well get Fortnite because I'm like, there's the new season thing, and I was like, let me just see what I'm going for it, innit?
Right.
Because I've never said that it's not for me. It's not a game that it's not a game that I bang like that. It's not for me. It's not a go-to game. Like,
be careful what you say now because we have footage.
No, it's calm.
Yeah.
So Fortnite for me is not a go-to game. It's not even really a game. It's a game mode because there's still more of a game behind it. For me, a go-to game is something that I usually want to play with people. So like sometimes a Street Fighter or GTA or like I've been playing recently now, Hollow Knight on the Switch. Like for me, those are games that I'll actually want to go out, pick up, play, and actually go out to play them. Whereas for Fortnite, I play Fortnite to kill time while I wait for a download.
Okay.
Because the reason being for that is because it's something that's quick. You get into a game, and most likely the games are fairly quick. They're over fairly fast too. So it's the perfect timing for like certain things, whereas other things take longer to load up.
That's what I was explaining last week.
Yeah,
like I was playing it more on the Switch because one, there isn't a massive amount of online games to play on the Switch at the moment, and two, it's perfect for like that handheld setting. It's quick and easy to just.
And also for me, the reason why I played it on Switch is because I just wanted to try it out for the Switch.
Because
I'm trying to get used to the analogs. It's very weird because I don't have tiny little kitten hands. Like I've got fairly largish hands. It's a really weird thing. It's a weird thing. I would like the Switch to be larger.
Listen up.
Huh? Oh.
Listen later.
But yeah, no, like you know, like it's for me. It's mostly just to get used to the analogs because I play Hollow Knight and I make really dumb mistakes.
Yeah.
But you know, no, like it's but no, it's something that I would not play like on a regular basis. Like I wouldn't plan to go like, hey guys, who wants to play Fortnite? Like that's not how it's going down for me.
No, fair enough. What, and Tonka, what about you? Are you a Fortnite guy?
God no.
No, you hate it as well?
Yeah, like honestly, I think my main problem with it is the community is extremely toxic.
Yeah.
And I don't like. I love an online video game, which is the next person. Like I said, you know, I like playing stuff like, and I'm going to sound quite hypocritical because I love playing stuff like Rainbow Six Siege. I have not played in a more toxic community in my life. Yes. Jesus Christ!
Tell me about
it. However, the difference is with Rainbow Six Siege, when I have an argument with someone there, at least I'm arguing with an adult. Do you know what I mean? So yes, it's a toxic thing, but it will be an argument like
shut up, you poopy head.
It would be an argument like, oh, I made the wrong play and someone's having to go at me for it. Do you know what I mean? So that I can sort of get over because yes, I made a mistake. They're handling it wrong, but I can see where I went wrong. I feel as though if I went on Fortnite and then if I get killed by someone or if something happened, if I, you know, it goes back to the COD 4 days of the way you dealt with an issue was let's 1v1 quick scope on Rust. Do you know what I mean? It feels like would be the level of the arguments that I'd be having, and I'm not in a place where I want to be having those sort of arguments anymore.
Do you know people are getting trolled for not having a skin?
Oh,
this is the thing, exactly.
This
is the problem. This is the issue of the community. Why are people having to go at someone because you don't have a cosmetic item?
No skins is what they call it. I'm a no skin.
Trust me, I'm the most hilarious no skin anyone will ever meet.
I'm late.
Hold on. How are you interacting with these people then?
Oh, what you mean? How do you get trolled?
Fortnite?
Yeah, I mean, just like, are you?
Oh no, this is like, you see it all over on Instagram. Like people are like, people will be like, oh, look at this fucking no skin, blah 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 blah.
No, I've had it where it was me and Big. We were playing. I wish he was here now. Damn it, Big. We were playing Fortnite. One of my people from my stream jumped into the party chat. I was asking if he could play. So I was like, "Oh, we need one more person." So I was like, "Yeah, might as well make a 4-man, right?" So he joins the game. He starts talking all big. Some kid starts talking all big about how he's got all these skins. Shout outs to Mum's credit card. And he starts talking all big about how all his skins. He then dies first.
Scrubs.
And then, so we played 3 games, right? He dies first the first game. Talks about us not being able to help, blah, blah, blah. Second game we play, we all die. And he's like, oh, don't worry, I'll carry you through the game. He then dies. Then the third game, he's like, oh, I'm going to take off my skin because all you guys don't have any skin. So I want to look like I'm a worse player than I actually am. No lie! This is what this kid was saying.
Man.
Christ, man.
Big was like, I was laughing, right? Because, you know me, I whatever. But Big was like, yo, power guy, I gotta mute this guy. I gotta mute. No way he just disrespects. We don't have skins, bro. I was like, oh my days. But no, also Instagram's a big place for it. In-game chat is really bad.
Oh yeah,
I think to be fair, I think you brushed on quite an interesting topic there, though. This idea of microtransactions in games just for cosmetic purposes. And I think you know, again,
we talked about this at one point.
I'm not going to make like a big deal about it, but like the point I'm just making is this is my other issue with games like that is that, you know, for something like Rainbow Six, if you're buying a pass, you buy the pass to unlock the operators quicker, the maps quicker, and the operators become cheaper for you to buy. So it makes sense to want to buy it. Yeah. And there isn't really a lot of opportunity for you to buy stuff outside of that. Like, you know, maybe you can get a couple of gun skins and stuff, but that's about it.
Yeah, because
you know, stuff like but stuff like Fortnite, all you're doing is you're buying cosmetic things, you're buying stuff for you're buying new pickaxes, you're buying new character skins, etc. It doesn't offer anything to the game experience, but then you're getting judged for it because you're not willing to spend that extra, £5-6
and you know what the maddest thing about that is? It's the fact of you're getting judged for playing the game for free. It's just like, hold on, but you're out here wasting money buying all of these things or whatever, and I'm the jerk.
At least if you'd have said, if I'm wearing, for example, the John Wick skin, if I'm wearing the John Wick skin, I can, aim down the sights faster or something like that, then you can understand it.
Yeah,
it's like, well, there's actually purpose to owning perks. That. Yeah, but there isn't. I'm not going to sit there in a game like that and get get people giving me shit just because I'm not willing to spend a bit of extra cash.
But on the other hand, the game's free and it's inexpensive. So like a battle pass is like £8 or whatever. And if you are going to play it a lot, you'll get your money's worth out of it. And you as you go along the levels, you earn in-game currency. And I'm pretty sure like during a season you can earn enough to buy another battle pass kind of thing. Like I get what you're saying with all the extra stuff, like people like being horrible to you or whatever because you haven't got a skin or whatever. That's whatever though. I don't really interact with people like that when I play online games. When I play online games, I usually play with my friends or I play by myself.
But the fact that that's a thing. Sorry.
No, but yeah, I mean,
sorry, my bad.
I don't really see anything wrong with their like pricing model for that when it comes to like the battle pass. I mean, like it's not that expensive and it's just.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. No. I'm not saying that the price is the issue. Like there are a variety of issues for why I don't want to play. I don't want to play Fortnite. It's just that was for me. That's one of the biggest things. Is it's not a community that I want to associate myself with.
I just want to touch on that. The community is the main thing. I used to play a lot of League of Legends. Like I think I spent maybe 5 years of dedicated time of League of Legends. The main reason why I stopped playing it is because of the community. Same reason why I stopped playing Kylie, because of the community. Something about playing in the EU, right? Something about it is really, really like toxic for some reason. Anyway, I feel like a lot of the generation, the kids, whatever, came from that. Like they came from like League of Legends to Counter-Strike and migrated over to Fortnite, right? When I used to play games when I was younger, like Xbox 360 days, right? Everybody loves a bit of trash talk. You would beat someone on Street Fighter. The first thing you do when the first thing you do when you perfect someone is hitting the freaking the Xbox button. Going to press an RB to go over to recent players, picking that dude's name, right? And trolling the shit out of him. That was the first thing you always do. But in League of Legends, it got really bad. Like people would flame, troll, disconnect, and leave games. Basically, lose a game on purpose because of what they claim if you're good enough for, right? And back to the skins argument, League of Legends also did the whole skins thing. It doesn't do anything to the game, it's just a skin, it just makes you kind of look cool. And you enjoy it. But the reason why I say it's a community thing is because you look, basically in League, the top players, they were Korean. I know the Korean players. And in Korea, the top players, they don't use skins. Like, they're a bunch of no skins. Like, you see a Korean player with no skin, you know they're the shit.
You're like, oh no, it's a no skin, run!
Right, they don't fuck with skins. Like they just use the character as it is. And it's just crazy to see how much something that has no effect to the gameplay has such a big effect in the community. And that's why really it comes full circle with the whole idea of if the community is toxic, it's really, really bad. The thing is though, to Shumo's point, with Fortnite, luckily enough, there's plenty of options where you don't have to really play with anybody. Like you can just play solo, you can play with your friends, you can mute everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they give you those options where you really can like just disconnect yourself from the community, really. Because obviously the game mode is 1 versus 100, well, 1 versus 99 basically, right? Because it's like 100 man battle royale. A lot of the time you don't really have to work with anybody else, really. You know what I mean? Where it's like Rainbow Six Siege, you need the communication. You need the teamwork. You need the people to be like, oh yeah, this round is not to be some kid screaming about how he's got what's it? How he's got the new Ash skin or some stupid crap.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
it's one of those things where a lot of mentality with Fortnite is a strange elitism, and the way that games are supposed to be, it's like literally a step backwards and a step away from what people who enjoy games or whatever want to achieve.
But
I feel like you get that in every like competitive game. Though.
hell yeah,
That's true,
hell yeah.
but for some reason it's like when it's because it does nothing. It's more annoying. So like if it's one of those things in like the new remastered COD, you can get the new weapons, and I've picked them up and used them, and I'm not even gonna try and lie. They are something else because you're firing out like what 10 rounds per bare rounds per second, like yeah, 0 recoil. These guns are good. So if somebody was trying to be like, oh, you suck because you got the old guns, I'd be like, you know what? You're probably right. I don't have the new guns, which are dirty strong. But that's what I mean. Like when because it's Fortnite and there's no actual gain from it. There's nothing. You're not elevating your game by the things you just own. It's just kind of like, bruv, shut up.
I think it's also worth noting. I know you said obviously you get that in every game, but you see it more in games that have a more competitive online community. Now, if we talk back to the first topic we touched on, which is these big channels picking up Overwatch and like esports in general, Fortnite and to an extent PUBG. They are going to be some of the biggest. This battle royale idea is going to be some of the biggest esports that's going to be upcoming.
Yeah.
So if the community is already toxic, think about how much worse it's going to get once we start seeing these games being projected on this esport platform, because that's just going to make it 10, 20, 50 times worse.
Yeah.
Let me touch upon that really quickly, then we'll move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
Before the fighting game community got into esports, right? So before like Street Fighter was proper big, Mortal Kombat was. I mean, like it was always big, but I mean, like on the TV and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So esports, right? There was a massive debate and argument about whether what to call esports number one. When I say we, I mean the fighting game community. But to be called esports for one, and whether esports was going to dilute what the FGC really had going. So FGC was a lot of trash, a lot of like, oh yeah, I'm about to perfect you and beat your ass, and then you ain't gonna do anything back. I'm gonna beat you like twice in a row, and beat your first attempt, whatever. And when esports dropped, the situation got a lot more controlled. Some people left because they just didn't like it, because obviously it's like corporate's taken over. Oh my god, aliens are coming. but like they really kind of leveled everybody out. So no more was there any ridiculous amounts of trolling. It was just competitive gaming at competitive gaming levels. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the good thing about esports. That's one of the good things about esports. They can kind of level it out where the community is not going to be so toxic and so bad. However, though, saying that, I'm kind of a hypocrite, because League of Legends has been in esports for ages, and it still has the most toxic community I've ever seen in my life. So
trust me, I was going to say with League, just real quickly with League, the one experience that I had was somebody tried to tell me to go AFK, and because I was like nah, I'm fighting back. I'm not gonna have nobody tell me to go AFK. So I was like, oh, KYS. Best believe they left the game.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, and I kind of felt really bad afterwards. I was like, oh bro, like I genuinely thought it was gonna be a back and forth type thing, and I was ready to be a troll, but like it just got really real at that point. I was like, damn.
Yeah, man, people are really upset.
I was like, wow, people really have feelings over the keyboard, mad thing.
Does anyone want to add anything else to Fortnite Season 5 before we move on?
Nah, I think we've run it dry.
I think we're good.
Cool, alright.
I'm not gonna lie, this is actually like the first time I've heard about like the Fortnite community being toxic or whatever, but I guess I haven't paid attention, because I hear about all these other games like Overwatch and
like
Rainbow
Fortnite's
Six.
a lot less direct.
It's just a curse of being a like I said, it comes back to being a competitive game. That's all it is. All competitive games are plagued by it. It's just made worse by the fact that they have a younger audience.
Yeah,
because obviously they're a lot less mature.
I think that was it.
Yeah, because I was gonna say if you were to jump in a random like Phil squad thing, you'd probably at some point you would definitely be like, oh, you fucking know skin. They're like, oh, I bet you don't have the John Wick skin. Oh, I've got the.
But
red
no, that's what I'm
light.
saying. Like I've done that. I've jumped in and like with other people and stuff.
On the Switch.
Just on the Switch, on the PlayStation,
on the Switch.
on the Xbox.
I'm not sure about the voice thing, but carry on.
Yeah, like on all of it. I played it on everything, like apart from PC and mobile.
Yeah.
And I've just never come across any of it. Like other than maybe I don't know if I'm doing shit or whatever. But like nobody's coming at me for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
because
my God.
but the thing is as well with squads is when you pair up with random people, a lot of the time you're not actually a squad. You all go off and do your own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. So
I think we can move on.
yeah, that's what I say.
All right. Cool. What
The
we talking
Culling
about?
poo.
The Culling
Oh,
2.
Christ.
Culling 2 got released what this week?
I think it was last week they got released. Let me
Last
check.
week. No, it got released. I'll talk while you check. It got released last week, right? Sometime. And if anyone's played the Culling 1 or
Released on July the 10th, 2018.
5 days
there you
ago.
go. 5 days ago. There you go. The Culling is another battle royale game. The Culling 1 really utilized a hand-to-hand combat system, which is a little bit different from any other battle royale game. The Culling 2 came out, and I saw I saw a little bit of it, and I was like, one, I'm not buying this game. Two, I was like, this game looks just not necessary. No one didn't need a number 2. Only to hear Tonka is now telling me that the Culling 2 flopped heavy. So Tonka, take it away, man. Tell the people what's been going on with the Culling 2.
So Culling 2 got released on the 10th of July 2018, and after, what would you say, like, boys, question, if you release a brand new video game, what would you say are good numbers to get in the first couple of hours of selling? The first hours of being sold, like, what sort of sales numbers would you want to look for?
It depends. If it's if it's supposed to be a AAA game, obviously nothing short of like a lot. But if it's like something where the Culling gets like slightly more of a niche, I don't know, like 20,000-30,000.
I'll be happy with 10,000.
Wait, hold on. I have a question. Is this game free, or do you have to pay for it?
No, you have to pay money for it.
Pay.
Okay. How much do you have to pay?
It's not full price. 14?
Let me just
£14?
check that for you.
I'm
just gonna what's it, the Culling, good old Steam. It's retailing at £17.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I'd expect a few thousand then, maybe, as long as there was some promotion behind it.
Yeah, so in the first 3 hours of the Culling 2 being released, they sold 249 copies.
Jeez, bangers.
That's terrible.
And then a number of articles released about 3 or 4 days after the release. So the article I'm reading at the moment was released 2 days ago. In the last 24 hours of the article being released, 16 players were online for a 50-player battle royale.
No, hold on. Now here's the question I have: are people still playing the prequel?
I mean, the prequel itself, they said they had a peak of 12,500 active players.
Okay.
That was the original Culling.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I misread some statistics here. Sorry. So the original Culling had 12,500 active users, with 16 people playing the original Culling in the last 24 hours of the article being released.
Oh my days.
However, the average user rate of the Culling 2 is 2 players every hour online.
Wow! Oh my gosh!
Sweet one-on-ones.
Well, the thing with the Culling 2 is you can't actually start the game without there being 50 players.
Wait, hold
on the
on. Take a break right here. Everybody who is watching this video right now, we have been joined by none other than the B.I.G. No, shut up, bro. Shut up.
My God,
Shut up. Because here's the thing, yeah? He told me in our chat, because we got a chat going on, he told me like half an hour ago, or 40 minutes ago, he's like, he was like, oh yeah, I'll be 10 minutes. Half an hour later, bruv. Don't come say 10 minutes when you're gonna be. If you're gonna be, you know what? I'd rather you say an hour and be early.
Hey, Big Imperial, say what's up to people on the tube, man.
What's up? What it is? What's good?
Now he said what's up, can I vote to ban him on this topic until we move
Banter,
on?
calm.
Hey, newbie, and your stripes first.
I don't know. He was even. I don't know. He was.
I don't know, he's already been here longer than you, bro.
Let me get up to speed, Big. We're talking about the Culling 2. It's a battle royale game. It had a prequel, which was doing okay. The Culling 2 comes out and it flops heavy. Tonka's giving us the information. Tonka, continue.
Yeah, so I mean, to be fair, that was pretty much it. It's just the fact that I can't believe, like, it was marketed as a battle royale game that's supposed to bridge the divide between H1Z1 and PUBG. is essentially the feel that they seem to be going for. They relied on a lot of the original mechanics from the Culling one. Basically, all they did was they looked at Fortnite, they looked at PUBG, they looked how successful they were, and they thought, let's jump on that bandwagon. And something has royally screwed them, and it just really didn't take off at all. So,
how big? How many people are playing?
Oh, right, okay. So, when the game was released 5 days ago, within the first few hours of being released, they sold 249 copies of the game. At the point at which this article was released 2 days ago, they were averaging 2 users online per hour, and you need a minimum of 50 players for the multiplayer to start, because it's Battle Royale. In contrast, in the last 24 hours of the article being released, 16 players were playing the original game.
Throw it in the bin.
Wait. So can I clarify? Doesn't quite understand. The game requires 50 people to join.
Yeah, I know.
He's explaining.
Wait. You buy the game. Hey, Mo, can I buy the Culling 2? Yeah, sure. Here you go, son.
Well, how much is it?
£17. £17.
Bam, out the credit card to the game, right? You download it. You have to wait for that bitch to download. To get into the game. To not be able to play at all.
You got Jeff sitting at the lobby for you.
Dude, you can't play the game.
Just you and Jeff chilling.
Man, like little X, big X, Sir Operative, big X, little X, bro. Underscore.
Him.
And the worst thing about it, right? The worst thing about it, you get this on PS4, on the Sony store, on the PlayStation store. You can't return it. You get it in disc form. You're not getting nowhere near much money back. You get it on Steam, when you refund it, you get your money in Steam wallet currency. So you can't even get your money off Steam back into your wallet. Dude, that is crazy. You can't even play the game. That's insane.
I think the topic that we need to touch on here is, as a battle royale game, why has this done so much more poorly compared to other games such as Fortnite, PUBG, etc.? What is it that they did wrong that the other games did right, or is this just potentially we're seeing a decline in popularity of battle royale games, or do we think that the current games have cornered the market? What do you guys think?
I think okay. Who do you want to direct the question at first? Because that's usually what goes down.
Okay, that's fine. We'll move it down the list. Big, you joined last. You can go first while I get your voice on the podcast.
I believe that most likely the current battle royale games might have just cornered the market. Especially to a point where you're telling me that you need 50 players to join, and in the past current weeks they've had a surge of 16 people join their online servers. That means that
just to clarify, that's 16 players on the original game, not the new game.
On the original game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, does that mean the original game was doing better than the new one?
The original game was doing better than the new game, yes.
Like, imagine if GTA 1 was doing better than 5. Oh my gosh. Just be top down.
Hey, Big, tag me in, man. Tag me in.
Just throw the game away. That's all I want to say, man.
Go on, Peach, what are you saying?
Alright, so 2 reasons why I think the game flopped. 1, marketing, because I can tell you this now, no one knew what Culling was until we talked about it. So
we're doing them a favour.
One is the marketing, right? And 2, I think it's just a bad time. I think it's just a really bad time. Like, I feel like if they were going to drop a game, they probably should have dropped the game like roughly around the time where
Fortnite started becoming more popular.
No, just when Fortnite new season wasn't going to come out. Like, they didn't drop it.
That's what I mean. So,
right? So I think there's 2 reasons why. I played the Culling 1. The Culling 1 was fun. They patched it and made it a little bit more not so unique. So they made it a bit more like any other 100-man battle royale game, whatever. But the Culling 2, though, from the little bit that I have saw, it doesn't do anything that I thought looks new, different, or crazy. It's just basically, like you said, a PUBG / H1Z, and like it's crazy to think had come out properly. H1Z1 is an open beta. Fortnite even classifies themselves to be an open beta, and they still can't get near enough the attraction. Granted, obviously, Fortnite and H1Z1 is free, but still. And what does anybody know what consoles it came out? So is it PC, Xbox,
PlayStation, Xbox One, and Steam? It was released on all three.
So hey,
And
man,
important to note, I've just read in this article here, it was released 2 days before the kickoff of Season 5 and Fortnite.
there you go. I think that's the reason why. I think
Shumo, what you want to add to the conversation?
Yeah, sure. I think, I think it's a case of everything that's been said. Really. Fortnite and PUBG have cornered the market and shaped what battle royale should be in our minds, kind of thing. It was a similar situation with back when Overwatch was coming out. For some reason, everybody was starting to launch a hero shooter, and they didn't all survive. Like Battleborn, for example. Battleborn came out very close to Overwatch, and it died. Paladins came out a bit after, and it was basically an Overwatch clone. And I think the only reason why it had any legs was because it was free. So I think it's a similar case where there's just there's no real room for another battle, another PC centric or early access type kind of smaller battle royale game, if you know what I mean. Since PUBG and Fortnite, there's been quite a few that have come and gone. I know Boss Key Studios made one, which was a 80s retro infused one where you ride mountain bikes and stuff like that, or BMXs or whatever. And it died within a couple of weeks, and the studio actually shut down. I know there's one. I'm pretty sure Sleep, the one on Xbox, the Darwin Project. Is that a battle royale?
I don't know. I need to actually fire up my Xbox. I've been meaning to play that for ages because it was free at one point, wasn't it?
I think it's just gone free to play now, and I feel like it's had to out of kind of necessity because I don't know anyone that's talking about it or playing it. Or
I think you and me, we went to a convention, EGX Res, and we saw it there. I think.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember seeing it on a Microsoft's E3 stage one year, and then never hearing anything about it until
it got so quiet. We stopped hearing about it.
Yeah, I think obviously the heavy hitters, they're Fortnite and PUBG, they've just kind of taken over. What will be interesting to see is when Battlefield and PUBG come out with their ones, because obviously they're hustle studios behind them, the publishers behind them. It'll be interesting to see how well they fare.
Yeah.
With their ones.
that was the point I was going to bring up in a little bit. I just wanted to hear from Sleep first and get his opinions on.
So
the flop.
So the reason I think partly the reason why it did so bad is a combination of what everyone's saying. For Shima, it did horribly because of the timing, but also I don't think it was particularly pushed. It wasn't something that we heard about it once, didn't hear about it again. That was that. But also it's the way PUBG and Fortnite handle the market, because PUBG handles people because think about it. So the difference between them basically is when you talk about the core games, they're both battle royales, and they do things slightly differently. But the only difference is the fact that one of them you pay for and one of them you don't. But people are willing to pay for PUBG because they enjoy PUBG. I bought PUBG, and it's actually, and I personally enjoy it. But it's the fact of it. They both handle the market. So Fortnite appeals because of the animations that they choose to use and stuff like that. It handles little kids to grown people who probably just don't like gore, and PUBG handles more the people who really who enjoy the photorealism. They both handle the two different, almost semi two different sides of the market. That the fact of for another one to come in, they've got no wiggle room.
Yeah.
So like someone was saying with the Battlefield one and the COD one, because those two have a very large following. And let's be honest, these are games that are going to probably be eternally popular. No one will ever be would Call of Duty could never lose traction, completely, to the point where it would get overtaken by another FPS type of thing, if you know what I mean. There would Call of Duty has planted itself, and it is a staple in the FPS world.
True.
And I find it very. I would find, and the only reason why I think those ones might thing is because I feel as though Call of Duty has been over time more popular, but obviously Fortnite is all the rage right now, and that's the only thing that I think that might not have these things not doing so well, because people still buy the Call of Duty for the multiplayer anyway and zombies and stuff like that. But whether they're actually gonna find people playing the battle royale or not is a different story.
Yeah,
like it might.
Yeah, we'll touch on that then. So, obviously, this isn't the only Battle Royale game or game mode that's coming out. Like we said, there's Battlefield 5 and Call of Duty Black Ops 4. They're both going to be supporting it. Dying Light, also getting released later this year. That's also going to be supporting a Battle Royale game mode. And it's interesting that, Schumo, you brought up the idea of Paladins and Overwatch, because the developers of Paladins are also bringing out a standalone Battle Royale game, Realm Royale. Yeah. So what do we think about these then? Obviously, some of these, the Battle Royale mode is going to be embedded in a bigger game. Some of them, it's just going to be a standalone Battle Royale game. Do we think there is a future for more standalone Battle Royale games? Is it just going to be a case of they're going to have to be embedded in larger games? What do we think?
So, because the thing is with... Because of the way that Fortnite and PUBG, they both, like, if you're talking about Battle Royale, you're only talking about them two, for the time being right now. I understand what you're saying. Do you think there'll ever
be a time where we'll be talking about other games in the future, or do you think that this is it now?
If we're talking about Battle Royales, I kind of don't think so. Because let's say, go on.
No, I was going to say, I think Call of Duty has the best chance.
Yeah.
Not feeling confident for Battlefield 5, not after how well they did with was it Battlefield 1 or?
I really loved Battlefield 1. I feel like Battlefield 5 will sell well. I don't know. Dice are moving a bit shaky to me, and I'm not sure how well.
Yeah,
they're gonna fare.
Sorry, go.
In terms of long term playability with stuff.
Yeah.
And even the way they announced their royale. Because they had their whole little press conference and they didn't mention it there. And then at EA's conference, they came out and they didn't show anything, not even a logo. They literally just said one word. They said Royale. There's no other information other than that they are working on one. Like, it just seems, I don't know. Half of me is like, they're just doing this in response to Call of Duty, and they're just gonna throw together a mode quick. And half of me is like, they were working on it, but now because Call of Duty does it, they know they have to announce it earlier than they might have liked.
They've always been like that, though. It's always been like a Battlefield and Call of Duty type of thing. Like,
there's been a rivalry, but Battlefield usually done stuff with a bit more, I don't know the word, like
individuality.
Yeah, agency. Like, but yeah, I think
it's a really good descriptive word, by the way. We like panache.
But yeah, I think out of the big ones, I think Call of Duty's probably got the best chance, as long as they put the best with it.
What do you reckon, Peach? You agree?
I pretty much agree. I don't really have much to really add on. Say that Fortnite and PUBG, if they keep going the way that they are going, there is probably nothing that any other game can do in terms of Battle Royale game mode to triumph.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. I played quite a few of the Battle Royale game modes before, and games before Fortnite came out. So I always talk about this. Minecraft Hunger Games, I always talk about this. DayZ mod, Armor 3 mod. I played those 100 people Battle Royale kind of games, and Fortnite and PUBG, the reason why they're so popular is because they do it so well. I just can't see much else you can really add that goes, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to take all my money, time, dedication, hours, and wins away from Fortnite and move over to X, Y, and Z. I can't see that happening.
Fair enough. Anything to add, Big, or you happy with what's been said?
You know what? I just want to give the Culling.
How long does it take you to find?
This might be so quiet.
That was some. That was some. I just want to give the Culling.
All right.
Okay.
Anyone want to add anything else?
No, let's just move. I was gonna say we should probably start speeding things up because we are.
Keep it moving. We're an hour in. Hour
Yes.
5.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
we're
can
out
cover
in.
some of these next ones pretty because these ones aren't things that are like crazy heavy.
So, I just want Shugo and Tonka to kind of take this next one as a tag team. Let's talk about the stock prices between Sony and Nintendo.
Ooh.
You guys, push it forward. Let the people know what's going on.
Let it rip.
Right. Yeah. So earlier this week, it was reported that Sony's stock hit a 10-year high.
Okay.
In closing during Monday. Yeah. So they hadn't been doing too great with obviously their electronic side, and the PlayStation brand has really been helping them out and helping them to recover. And as of last week or whatever, their share price hit a 10-year high. From Nintendo, on the other hand, had seemed to be their stock price had seemed to be dropping, although they had a pretty successful like E3 of announcements and lineup, etc. And in terms of the fans, but apparently investors aren't too pleased with what they got, and it actually got Nintendo to come out and say, "Oh, our lineup for 2018 we haven't fully announced." So there's apparently some more games coming for the Switch in 2018. I suspect it might be a port of a Wii U game, maybe like Super Mario 3 or Super Mario Maker or something like that. But yeah, Tonka had some analytic information.
Yeah, so if you look at the current stock value of both Nintendo and Sony, they are both trading up. They both did have dips in the previous month. Nintendo particularly had a very serious dip. Like Shumo said, their stock price has been steadily declining for a while, but it is climbing back up. They're getting back up there. They managed to close at 36,480. Which is this is all in Japanese yen, so that's a particularly good number for them to be trading up on, considering only I think it was about a week and a half before they were trading down by 2,000 Japanese yen, so that's quite a significant difference there. Sony have just been trading up throughout the last month. They did have a bit of a dip, but they're hitting, like Shumo said, record highs now. They're trading at nearly 6,000 Japanese yen per stock share. I think it's interesting to note here that it was only 2 months ago that it was reported that Nintendo were some of the cheapest game stock in the world. That's just due to the way that they recorded their financial report and their financial projections back in March at the end of the fiscal year. But yeah, they had a real big bounce back. So yeah, Nintendo doing very, very well for themselves now. Which is good to see, really, because obviously, like we said, with the release of the Nintendo Switch, and they've got some real big titles coming up on the horizon, so it'll be really exciting to see what they do with that added push to the company.
Hey, nice one, guys. Hey, round of applause for you guys, man. Oh, that was clean. That was clean. Hey. Anyway, man, intermission time, people. All the viewers, thank you very much for listening so far. Before we get into the entertainment, I just want to tell you guys a few things that's happening at the moment in the gaming world and in the entertainment world. So, currently, Black Ops 4 Beta is coming to the PS4 first. You pre-order Black Ops 4, sorry. You can play it. PS4, coming first. Screw you, Xbox.
Suck it, Xbox, you Xbox fags.
Warframe is also
I say this,
there.
but I have an Xbox One as well.
Warframe was also
Imposter!
Imposter.
Imposter.
I know what I'm saying. Warframe is getting a crossplay, which is awesome. I'm not too sure in particular what is going to be crossplay between. I know it's
when
coming out
PlayStation are just like, hey, we're not crossplaying with nobody.
So it would be awesome to see that you could use your XOs or whatever they're called on every platform with everybody.
Yeah.
Screw you, Sony. One day you'll partner with
You
everybody
will
else.
cave.
And if anybody is at Amazon Prime Day,
Prime members, get ready.
you should definitely get your wallets ready, because there's going to be loads of deals
We fatten them up because they're about to get real skinny.
on Amazon. So yeah,
just a couple of early deals for Amazon Prime Day. They're doing 15 months of PlayStation Plus for $34.99.
Woo!
goes live tomorrow on the 16th of July. There's also, if you're an Amazon Prime student member, you can get £15 off a £60 spend from midnight tonight, Monday 16th of July to the 23rd of July.
So, question is, does anybody have a Prime account so I can?
Yeah, like
you know what? Suddenly, I actually don't. But I know who does. Man like Schumer, illustrious member of Aldershot Academy.
Hey, Schumer. Oh, I hit you with that, man. We'll talk about it later.
I ain't got a Prime account. I use Gary's.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary, we know you're listening. We know you're listening, Gary.
Yeah.
Gary, we know you're listening. Hey, nice us.
Retribution.
That's me.
Alright, people. Alright.
419 and that fraudulency.
We're going to move on to the entertainment topics now. First on the list is God of War is going to be having a Netflix series. Netflix announced in April that they will be creating a new series based on the video game God of War.
Boy.
Now, before...
Hey, shouts out God of War, man.
Try not to cry, big.
You know, I still ain't touched that game since that shit happened.
We know.
Was that when you put a hole in your wall?
Oh, no. So, you don't know. Oh, hold on. A very, very quick story time. So, Brian had Big had a very lovely lady around his house.
You already said it.
It's too late now. So Big had a lovely lady around his house, and basically, she decided to hop on his PlayStation, and he was one Valkyrie away from killing all of them, and she managed to delete his save. Sorry, well, not delete his save, but she actually overwrote it. So now it's to start from the very beginning if he ever wants to do it again.
No, deep this. I was talking to her the other day, and she told me, I better not have overwritten her save. I was like,
wow.
You know what your response? You know what your response is? Overwrite my number and delete it.
Hey, you know what?
Hey, I would.
You know,
I would, but hey,
Big. You know what? Hold tight, you. But you need one of these.
Oh my god.
Oh, is it a soundbite warfare now?
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Oh no.
You had one. I had one. The only people who got one now are Shubo, Pal Guy, and Tonka. That's it.
Right. I saw an amazing fan art for the God of War Netflix like picture. Nothing's been completely shown yet.
Oh, it's the guy who plays Aquaman, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the guy who plays Carl Drogo from Game of Thrones.
Is it
Jason Momoa?
Yeah, I didn't want to say. I didn't want to butcher his last name, so I think that was the thing. Yeah.
Wait, is that his actual last name, Mimosa?
No, it's Jason Momoa, I think.
Okay.
Good old
Is his name
Mimosa.
actually Mimosa?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. One quick little detail. Now, Netflix obviously just announced it. Now they say God of War, but does that mean God of War 2018? Does that mean all of them packed into one? I wonder what they're going to be focusing on. Now, for people, I'm thinking it's going to be the first God of War. We're going to need to know who Kratos is, right?
Yeah,
Right.
so season 1 will probably be like first God of War, then probably season 2 will carry off from the actual God of War 4. And
No, you see, here's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see just the God of War video games, but done each season, so that you actually get that proper build-up.
That's cool. That would be cool. Wait, hold on. Did you say they announced it?
Yeah. Well, with the details that
I thought it was just concept.
No,
Like they
I
were thinking about it.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually a thing where it's actually like it's coming out. As far as I know, I thought it was something that it was concept, and the guy who voices God of War was pushing it to happen. I think.
See, I read that the director was the one saying it would be good.
Yeah, like somebody
he would love to watch it or whatever,
Yeah.
but Netflix actually making it. It was just like a big rule.
Yeah.
quick
Like
question.
someone wants to watch it, but somebody who's involved with God of War wants it to happen, but it actually happening is a different story.
Okay.
But
but
I have a
quick
question for
question,
you guys
yeah.
though. Sorry, go on, Big. Actually, I just cut you off twice. Go ahead.
Yeah. Which video game would you want to be turned into a Netflix series?
What? We talking about anyone?
Anyone. So, Peach, you go first.
Spider-Man.
Probably.
I'm joking. Obviously.
Cities Skylines.
Oh my god! Could you imagine Roller Coaster Tycoon? The movie.
You know what? To be fair, I think I got 2 games: Halo or Overwatch. I would love to see them explore the different characters in Overwatch. Like Blizzard does such a good job with lore and stuff, so it would be amazing to see all the characters of like what they were before. You know, you play them in the game.
With
right?
Overwatch, I think there is a comic.
Yeah, there's a
Overwatch has a comic and they do like little shorts that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's obviously we're talking about TV shows, but there is a way for
But like
people to catch
a
up.
show, a show, quite good, like an animated show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be wicked, man. That'll be wicked in my opinion. And Halo, because I'm a big Halo fanboy, I can't get enough of Master Chief.
Well, there is a Halo show coming. Like,
There's a couple of like mini Halo series that they've done.
Yeah, and there's
Like,
loads
there
of
hasn't
people
been
have
a
done
proper-
loads of them on YouTube. Like, obviously, these ones are obviously some of them are comedy related, but there's a lot of stuff like videos that have been made using Halo on the internet.
Red vs. Blue.
Yeah, I know. That's I think that was the first thing that started getting me into like watching YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, so that's my 2.
Is it 2? I thought it was just 1.
I thought it was just
whatever.
whatever, innit?
Well, whatever. Sleep. Got any games that you wanna?
I just had one in my head. So I feel as though just seeing this in a movie would be dope. Would be San Andreas. I feel like that just. I feel like that would just be dope.
Wait. I urge you to play San Andreas. I urge you. I guarantee you, you'll play that game again and be like, man, this game is some corny ass.
Oh, don't get it twisted. It's I'm not gonna try lie. It is corny, but I would like to see it. I would like to see it probably slightly more refined and better, but as a movie. A movie, not a series. Because as a series, a series could work also, I suppose. But I'd like to see Mass Effect. I'd like to see as a movie, as a series.
Yeah, that would bang as a series.
What else? The Division would make a good movie.
Oi, yeah, Division.
They are making a Division movie, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, called it. Well, not really.
I actually figured out who started the virus. Like the other day, I got that cutscene. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got that cutscene.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
There are a lot of games that would just make really good movies.
Isn't that like a generic
Was it-
cutscene
was
you
it
just get
from-
anyway when you
Point
complete the game?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Shima, what TV, what game would you want to go into a TV show or movie?
I think The Witcher could make a good TV show.
Okay. Who would you have to play it though?
I didn't know it was that deep.
but
Ask one question and then more questions. Like, hold on, like, why does he get 2 questions? Why can't I get 2 questions?
I don't know who I'd get to play it. But yeah, I think The Witcher. I would like to God of War one, but obviously we just spoke about that one. I'm trying to think like what kind of games have like good story elements. The Last of Us would be a great movie.
Oh,
But we have the game, so like we don't really need the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, because then my question was gonna be sorry. Let me know when you're finished, and then I'll piss my question to you.
What about you, Tonka? What about Tonka?
I think a lot of the ones I'd have already been sort of said. I'd definitely like to see a Halo one, like a properly done Halo one. I'd really love to see a Skyrim. I think if a Skyrim gets done well, I'd love to see something like that.
Oh, there's CGI. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, you got obviously, like I said, it's got to be done properly. Like you have to do they have to do it properly. But I'd love to see a Skyrim. Division, I think would be a really good one. Same as particularly Mass Effect. I'd love to see like a movie series that was basically all 4 Mass Effect movie games. I think something like that would be really good. But yeah, like generally, I think the games that make the best movies would be like the epic single player games as opposed to like the more multiplayer games, just because they hold more story in them anyway.
Metal Gear Solid. Would be fire. I'm just saying.
Far Cry. Far Cry.
Yeah, it was a Far Cry movie.
I was gonna say, but which Far Cry?
Yeah.
Because Blood Dragon would be hilarious.
Oh my days! No, isn't that Kung Fury though?
Kung Fury is like is what Far Cry Blood Dragon would be if it was a movie. Kung Fury, just personal. If you have not seen Kung Fury, I'm definitely leaving the link in the description. I'd watch it because it is hilarious. It is so funny.
For me personally, I'll have Sleeping Dogs as a Netflix show.
Yeah, that'd be Mafia.
With Way?
Yeah, Mafia 2, and Sleeping Dogs.
Mafia 2 will be sick. Yeah, Mafia 2 will be
But my
sick.
question for you guys now is for the movies that you've mentioned, all the games that you'd like to be movies or series, do you think those happening would take away your appreciation for the game? Because I personally feel like, so we were talking about God of War. I really like God of War because it's something that I experienced. Me watching something versus actually having a direct impact in what's going on, I then automatically feel a lot more disconnected. So I feel
that question is more towards how well it is done. If it's done really well, then I feel it add to your experience of your game. Then I feel
I don't see how. For me personally, I don't see how it would though. Because for me, the reason why I say that is because when you play a game like with Atreus, it's not just the fact of you're watching it on TV and he's doing something. Yeah, and he's not doing something to Kratos. He's doing something to you because you are playing Kratos. There's already when you're watching something and you're not like involved with it. There's already sometimes in certain cases there's a slight disassociation. So like I'd feel a lot less attached to a Kratos I saw on TV versus the one I see on my TV screen that I'm controlling, and that I've been thinking. That's what I'm getting at. Granted, yes, I don't control his whole actions, like I don't control his dialogue or anything like that. But what I'm getting at is the fact that it's something that it automatically for me it being a series. Granted, it'll be really dope to see. Like it'll be cool. Do I think it would be as effective as a game? No.
But so
I think that's subjective though.
Yeah, completely subjective. Like it's like I said, that's why I said in my opinion, no, because I'm not trying to say to all of you, all your movie ideas, you're not gonna have as much fun watching them as you were playing the game. That's not what I'm getting at.
I feel it'll bring more of an audience to those
franchises.
Who don't play video
games.
Yeah.
For people who don't play
video games and stuff like that, and you like watching like Norse mythology and stuff like that, then yeah.
But
I understand you like because you control the character, it's easier for you to form an attachment. But I don't. Well, for me personally, that's not what that's not what I attach myself to a character through. Like obviously, I can control it or whatever, but it's the character and how it's written.
Yeah,
is what keeps me invested in it.
Oh yeah, like if it was done poorly, then that's a different story. But I'm just saying, like for me, I really like to fall into something.
I'm gonna counter you guys with this by saying I agree with you guys, by the way. But I'm just gonna counter it, play a little bit devil's advocate. See, I don't think. Say I got it.
Wait, what?
I don't. You said I knew I was a heathen. Oh. I heard you, Big. I heard you. I don't think. Say a God of War or like a Last of Us or whatever needs a movie. I feel like the game does it so well already. Like a game like Warcraft, however, is more beneficial to have a movie. Even though the movie was great, it was more beneficial to have a movie because there's so much lore and story behind hours and hours and hours of expansions, whatever. Which if you don't buy the expansions, you don't play the base game. If you don't get to the max level, you're probably not going to know the story, right? Where say, or like an Assassin's Creed, like Assassin's Creed did. I don't think
actually an Assassin's Creed movie would be sick.
They have one.
They have one with Michael Fassbender, and it did poorly.
I don't think they needed one because I think the game itself, like, just tells the story great enough already.
Yeah, like that's what I was gonna say. That's one of the main things for me. Like, if a movie's not gonna add on to anything really, there's most likely not really a point. So
yeah,
I hear what you're saying.
I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, maybe what would work better is the games that like make you work a bit more for the lore, like Overwatch and like Destiny and stuff like that.
Yeah, shout out to Destiny 2 though.
Hey, hold on. Do you think? So, because I know this is one of your favorite games, Peach, but I noticed you didn't put it in your list of games you'd like to see as a movie. How do you feel about Dark Souls being a movie?
I don't think you can.
Could that even work?
I don't think you can capture what Dark Souls brings in a movie.
What, absolute rage and pain.
In short,
Bloodborne. Same thing. In short, the idea behind Dark Souls is you're the problem. So you have to fix the way you play. You have to fix the way you attack the situation. You have to you approach the next boss or the next scene or the next action in order for you to get better and beat it.
Yeah.
So it's that satisfaction of, oh man, I spent 50 times dying on this motherfucking spider, but after grinding hard, sleeping, looking up some strategies online, your boy did. You know what I mean?
It sounds like you're talking from personal experience.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Maybe I am.
Are you alright? Are you okay? Do you need a hug?
I'm sweating. Oh, shit. But in the movie, you can't quite. I don't think you could quite capture that. You know, I mean, unless you could do some sort of like Rocky montage, he's like dying a lot of times and stuff like that, right? Yeah, I don't think you can really capture that in a film. But nice shout out to Dark Souls.
Yeah, I mean, the main point of like a movie or a TV show is the story of it. And I feel like with Dark Souls is more about the gameplay hook of it, and the story is kind of secondary.
Yeah.
There's a lot of story of each of the characters, but hell no, you ever going to find out all the characters about you breaking the game or snapping the controller. or watching on YouTube. Yeah, there's that too. Yeah. So, does anybody else have anything else to add?
Nope.
Before we move
No,
on?
I'm quite happy.
The next two topics, I'm just going to briefly rush over them. I don't have any questions.
No. You're not brushing over the Kylie Jenner one because Jesus Christ, like that needs discussing.
Right. So, God, you got me laughing. All right. So, Kylie Jenner, she's almost a billionaire. Holiday, she made it.
I'm Kylie Jenner. I got a vagina. I'm gonna explore that shit right now.
Shout out to Little Nicky, man. I think she's what? Her net worth is somewhere around
900 mil.
900 mil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Something like that.
right? Which is insane to me. She's 21 years old. Or she turns 21 in August.
She's turning 21.
She turns 21 in August. I'm pretty sure she's like one of the richest, youngest, self-made. That hurts every time. Women. Ever?
So a large chunk of that comes from her cosmetic company, right?
Yeah, like it's like all the makeups and the lip kits.
Yeah, the lipsticks.
All of this nonsense. Yeah.
This is the issue I have. She's not self-made.
This is what I was saying.
Sleep was saying that too. Explain your point.
Okay, the problem is you're not self-made if you were born into fame and wealth. That is not a self-made millionaire, billionaire, whatever you want to call it. That's not self-made money. Yeah, that's her.
Why was that? Oh, sorry, hold on. Big, why was that the first thing that you did? Did anybody?
It's true.
That's not the point of whether it's true. That's not part of the argument. What's wrong with you, man? You're like, oh, that's her mom. You bastard.
Look at someone like take for example Bill Gates, for example, right? He was a self-made billionaire because he didn't come from fame. He was a backdoor programmer that founded Microsoft out of his own money. Do you know what I mean? Someone like that you can describe as self-made because they came from nothing and they made something for themselves. She's not self-made because she didn't come from nothing. She already had a name before she had all of her business and stuff. And yeah, good for her that she's she's independent, she's got her own company, she's made her own money and stuff. But it's not self-made because if she didn't have a mum's name, if she didn't have a family wealth, she wouldn't have what she has now.
Hear me out.
Wait, okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say because this is what Peach and I think Shima were telling me before. When we're talking about the literal sense of the definition of self-made, it's basically doing it on your own. I think she did do these things on her own. But what the problem for the thing that I have is the fact that it's her name carries. Her name is carrying it, and that's what it and that's where I think we're getting self-made confused because there's self-made and then there's like something else where basically it's you and only you and nobody else is influencing it.
But no. I just want to kind of clarify a line, right? I think when it comes to this, no one can really state self-made because if you're going to classify self-made as you by yourself, no one else. I don't think there's been anybody successful in history that's done anything by themselves. They've either exploited, built, worked with a team, or taken something from somewhere to be able to make to be what they've become. I'm gonna
argue with you on that one there.
Okay, so you say your point.
So when you're talking about that, I get what you're saying. Because obviously, you can even take Bill Gates with Microsoft. He ended up having a team to help get it to slowly get it to where it is, and obviously that team started growing and growing and growing and growing and growing until it became what it is today, right?
Yeah.
What we're talking about is the fact of it was his idea, he started it, and he started putting stuff out to make people want to join him. That and I understand, like, so in that sense, the initial concept is his own. Well, apparently there's been a lot of stories about he stole it from someone else, but we're just gonna ignore that and act like we're gonna
ignore it to make the example work.
I think the ultimate counter argument is quite simply, if Kendall Jenner wasn't Kendall Jenner and she was, your next door neighbor, and she started up exactly the same businesses that Kendall Jenner did and did exactly the same stuff that Kendall Jenner did, would she be as popular?
It's the other one.
Kylie, but I didn't correct you because I don't care.
But do you get what I mean? Like, it's that idea of if she didn't have the family name and the family fame backing her, would she have done as well? That's the bit.
Imagine your family's route to fame is your sister did a porno.
Mod. I mean, hold on. I'm gonna stop you there because that is definitely a reason why they definitely become very blown up. But when Caitlyn wasn't whatever man's name was, I'm pretty sure at one point he was an Olympian.
Yeah, he was an Olympian.
Yeah, so that's the reason why the family already had traction because of
not
that.
only that, the dad was like a pretty famous lawyer.
Oh yeah, OJ
case.
Hold tight, OJ.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, this was facts, man. He was on the OJ case.
Oh no! Because I thought OJ was not Caddy, Courtney's. No, not Courtney. You're
just bringing out stuff that nobody mentioned.
Okay, but Brad, let's stay on topic. Carry on, Sheen.
No, I was going off topic. Don't worry about me.
But like, alright, yeah, I understand what you're saying. If she didn't have the name, would it still be overlapped? But that's something we're never going to know.
See, no, of course not. But then this is the problem of you can't call it self-made because ultimately she wasn't. She and her businesses weren't self-made. She invented them herself, and yes, that's great for her. But because we don't know whether or not her family fame would have meant it did so well, do you know what I mean? And that's why I've got such a problem with it being a self-made billionaire.
So let me. What I was going to say. Sorry, really quick. Also, I think when it comes to stuff being self-made, it's when this is something where you can say this is your idea, this is yours. That's what we were talking about. Well, that's what I was going to say in regards to Bill Gates. So you're saying that obviously, you can't call it self-made because he has to work in a team. Yes, he has to work in a team, but it is his team.
All right. So let me just finalize it all by just getting a general understanding. Say, take me, right? Say I have an idea to create a podcast. Look at that. Right?
Oh.
What's the name of the podcast?
Yeah, what is the name of the podcast?
The name of the podcast.
Showered up. It's about hygiene.
And let's say I'm in a council flat, okay, right? I'm in a council house or whatever, and this idea goes from being on the internet to the radio to the news, and I blow up and I go to travel across the world. That's self-made, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
I'd agree with that.
So let's say I take the same idea, but I'm the son of the president. So that isn't self-made because everybody knows me as the president. So the idea that I had of the podcast and that exploding is still not the same. That's my
because that's what I was saying earlier about, like, her name did help and it's still technically self-made, but I don't. But it deserves a lot less praise because you didn't have. It was one thing. There's a lot less, and yeah, you could say, oh yeah, I just had an easier ride because it's a lot less effort. But
see, I thought people were hating on her. Not hating on her. I thought people were saying that because she shouldn't get the title of self-made so young, because the only reason why she's so young is because she's got the backing. You know what I mean? That's what I thought was the initial thing, because that makes more sense to me. Personally, I don't have an answer for it, but I don't think she made it so fast if she didn't have the name. But I can't say that she would have never made the same impact, I guess, without the name. I don't know, man. That's my understanding. That's why I'm a bit confused. I'm a bit shaky.
Okay, but all right. So on the other hand, let's pose a different. So Donald Trump, for example,
Cunt.
yeah, his dad started him off with
A small loan of $1 million.
or whatever. But Donald Trump has obviously made a name for himself, and he is the brand now. Like it's Donald Trump. You don't know him for his dad. You know him for him. So, is there no credence to like that sort of thing where she's made a name for herself with her cosmetic business, and because obviously that's a big chunk of her wealth. The rest of it comes from whatever endorsements, show or whatever.
But I think again the thing with the Donald Trump example, do you think he would have been as successful as he is currently? Like, ignore the presidency stuff. Do you think he would have been as successful as he was before being president if he didn't have that very small loan of $10 million?
$8 million. That's like chicken change loan.
But you know what I mean? Like, this is the thing, because he had that backing. Does that really make him truly self-made? The way you have to think of it is, rather than look at what he achieved, is look at how he achieved it.
Yeah.
And we'll go back to the Bill Gates example. Yes, Bill Gates had a team, but ultimately it was him and his team working out of a garage to create the first computer, to create, well, not the first computer, but to create Microsoft, and create what it is today.
But like, I guarantee he had a loan to do that, though, to start his business off. He must have.
He might have done.
Got a loan.
It depends.
That's usually
I don't know.
That's usually how businesses start. You need a business.
But then,
to get started.
yes, no, exactly, yeah. But then
you're lending you the loan, or like
no, because then, so for example, okay, the thing is, right? So you or I, we could go to the bank and say we would like a business loan for this amount, and that's probably exactly what Bill Gates did. The fact of the matter is, I would describe him as self-made because it's something that you or I could do if we had the skill to do it. It's not like you or I could go to the bank or go to our parents and say, I need a small loan of $1 million to be able to kickstart my company. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where the difference is. It's what the everyday man is able to achieve. And in my personal belief, if I was able to do what you did, you're self-made. But I am never going to be able to achieve what Kendall Jenner has been able to do. I'm never going to be able to achieve what Donald Trump has done because I don't have access to the same resources that they do. No, but at the end of the day, I don't have access to the same resources that they did, and that's what means, in my opinion, they're not self-made because they had a greater advantage than I did and that any other regular person had. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I fully understand the argument.
But that's just my belief in it. My belief is that you can't classify yourself as self-made if you had an advantage that
I don't think
your
it's
next
other people.
have.
I don't think she's classing herself as that, which I think.
It's other people have said she's self-made. I think it's just a mislabel that needs addressing.
Yeah. Like, sure, like, great that she's doing so well and whatever, but self-made...
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I'm not taking it... Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to take anything away from her. It's more about the way that we...
her own thing, like, calm, fine, whatever.
It's more about the way that these people are reported, because at the end of the day, it's this sort of misinformation that leads to... Not a breakdown in society, but you know what I mean? Like, we need to be keeping people accountable for the way that they report things and the way that things are spoken about, because language is very powerful.
Yeah.
Fierce. Hey, you know what? That was a good take, guys. That was a good take.
Powered up. Oh, we reached level 3, Bill. What are you getting?
Peach just there, just going, I just want to brush over these topics. No, you fucking don't, Peach.
Oh, hell no!
I'm Kylie Jenner.
Hey, man. Move on to the next topic. We're going to talk about the Thailand Cave rescue.
Oh, let me just say, the opener is they did not even wait for the corpse to get cold on site.
They're basically going to be doing a 1 hour movie special kind of thing. And
I think it's more of a documentary special than a movie special.
Yeah.
Do you mind explaining it for people at home who don't know what you're talking about?
I'll get there. Essentially, a bunch of boys. What, 12? Well, there was 12 boys.
12 boys and their kicker fiddler coach got stuck in a cave.
Oh my lord!
Got stuck in a cave. Inside the cave, got filled with shit ton of water, so they couldn't get out. Right?
Kids probably got filled with something else as well.
Oh my lord! It's not this kind of podcast.
Leaving like the science teacher from Malachi School.
Oh my god. Whoa, hold on. What about the teacher from your school? The one who's doing things to disabled youths who couldn't do nothing about it.
Oh yeah, oh my god.
Hold on, we're getting off topic. Keep explaining.
What?
Any potential advertisers listening,
Anyone
I'd just like to state that Tonka is not a regular part of this podcast. He just
essentially
They paid me to say it.
It was a team of divers. Basically, the Thailand government got a bunch of divers, sent them in to save the boys and the coach. I believe one diver died during the rescue. Unfortunate to him, he
ran out of oxygen.
So what?
Popped up by Stingray.
So what happened? So what happened? The way it is like the cave system, but during the way to the kids and the way out, there's a section within the cave where your oxygen tank and your mask can't. You and the oxygen tank can't fit at the same time. So what it is that one diver goes through without it, gets it passed to him, and that way he's on that side of his. And every time someone passes a tank through, he keeps it, and then they're supposed to swim through. One guy, unfortunately, was unable to swim through, and actually run out of breath, and drowned. Basically,
R.I.P. my man.
He was unable to get through and get to safety. Basically,
In time, yeah.
right, and that's basically what happened. So as they're bringing kids out and the coaches out, what they have to do is obviously they get to that same stage again, and they have to take off their oxygen mask, swim through, get the people to pass the oxygen tank back through, and then get their kid to swim through, and then do it all over again for all 12. They eventually did manage to get all 12 out safely, and now they're planning on doing a documentary, a 1 hour special to explain, showcasing, whatever, everything to do with the incident. It's kind of crazy though, because like Sleep did said, it only recently just happened. It just happened.
Yeah,
so it's insane to really just put their families through the same stress again. You know what I mean? Like, you just got your child back. Now you've got to watch that.
But have they signed off all this through the families though? So I saw you can't do this permission from the.
I mean, no. To be fair, because it is technically classified as a news story, like they would only need permission from the families if they actually wanted to include details about the children themselves. It depends what take the documentary is going to have, whether or not it's going to be focused on the rescue attempt and how it happened to make sure it doesn't happen again, or if it is going to be more centered around the children and the coach in the cave and the divers. Do you know what I mean? So it depends what sort of take they have from it.
The only time they would actually need permission from the parents, and they could just turn around and use all different names, but they could relate back to it and just use completely different names and blah blah blah, and whatever, change everything up so it's not the exact same situation. But the issue that I have with this is the fact of it's something that it's not a case where, as far as I know, I haven't heard any news about any of this money going towards, like, any of the money that they're going to make is going to go towards the diver that died's family or something. And just it's just another thing of somebody capitalizing on a tragedy.
Yeah,
that's the thing that I have an issue with, especially when it like bruv, it just happened.
But then on the flip side, if something like this could prevent something like this happening again in the future, then it's obviously had a public benefit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel you on that. But
yeah,
it's just like, okay, so like this tragedy is getting turned into a thing immediately, regardless of whether it's supposed to be something that's like educational or not, or whatever.
You think there should have been more decorum around the fact that someone died?
Like you don't, and as well, like if we're gonna start turning tragedies into films that are supposed to educate people and whatever, there needs to be other things going on. Like I think there's remember that movie the one that it was Michael B. Jordan and he was playing. You know what? You lot know what?
Train station, Fruitful Train Station.
Yeah, stuff like that. Why is there not more of that stuff?
There was a film.
I think what you have to remember is whether or not this is going to be a film or a documentary.
Huh?
like you got to remember whether or not this is going to be like a more of a documentary or a film.
Yeah, I don't
if
know.
it's more of a film, I feel your point more. Whereas if it's a documentary, they're not made.
Yeah.
They're not made to make money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they still do make money though.
Yeah, of course, but you know, something like that, it would be more money just to go towards the producers.
They're like
and,
actually doing more of them type thing.
Exactly. Whereas if it was a film, that's where you're looking at, you know, profit loss margins, shareholders, etc. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's the important distinction we have to make here.
Just so you know, it is most likely to be a documentary of some sort. They're classifying it as a 1 hour long TV special dedicated to the rescue.
Yeah.
Calling it Operation Thai Cave Rescue, and it's set to already air on the. So
on when, sorry?
On what?
On this Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
It's Friday, raw.
Yes, this Friday.
That was a quick turnaround, boy.
The swiftness of it all.
I think that the question I'd like to ask at this point is: Does anyone actually scuba dive? Has anyone actually been scuba diving or knows how to scuba dive?
No, I've
been
not.
scuba diving before.
I don't like deep sea. I'm really, really bad when it comes to deep sea.
I did like a lesson in a pool, but that's about it.
Like
same.
I'm actually qualified to scuba dive. Like I've got a PADI license, and like I'm allowed to basically go and do it if I want to. The thing with cave diving is it's one of the most dangerous things as a scuba diver you can actually do, and not a lot of people. Like, I know that obviously we discussed it, and obviously the documentary is going to discuss it, but I think to really try and hit it home, it really is. Like when you go through all your assessments and stuff, there are certain criteria you have to hit. Cave diving is like above being a teacher level of experience. You know what I mean? Like you can become a PADI scuba diver teacher before you can be qualified to go cave diving.
Yeah.
So, and you know that's how dangerous it is. And you know they were saying there are over 100 divers in the area for this operation, and all of them were experienced. You know, the guy that died in the cave, he was ex-Thai Special Forces. Like, you know, so it wasn't like some amateur. It was like, you know, serious people. So I think people really need to understand just how much these divers risk. Because they're getting out I think they said like 4 children. Took 10 hours to get 4 people out of the cave. So that's 2 hours, or like, you know, 2.5 hours per child.
Yeah.
So, you know, people really need to realise what these people risked, I think, because, you know, it was a really big risk.
There was some from Britain that flew out there and helped, I think, as well.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
2. I think there was 2. Yeah, there was definitely 2. All right. So, does anyone else want to add anything else before our last topic of the day?
No.
All right, cool. Going on to everybody's favorite man, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
The man, the myth, the legend.
I think the legend is a very strong word. I think you can just end it at myth.
Self-made. Basically, he visits London. He has a speech, a meeting with the Prime Minister.
Dump Trump, bruv.
Right, hey, welcome back. And essentially, a shit ton of protesters were not happy with him visiting London. Okay, there was nearly 2,000 protesters.
250,000.
Yes, yeah, 250,000 in central London, all with the movement of Stop Trump, the Stop Trump movement. To me, first and foremost, I just want to kind of pause it and just say that is insane. All right,
yeah.
To have that many people rally together is insane, man. Like that's the effect that this man has on people, on the country, on. Just in general, that's how many people dislike this guy. Like they don't want him in the country making deals. They don't want him to MP's ear. They don't want none of that shit. Right? So they get this massive big baby blimp of basically like Donald Trump in like kind of like a diaper or whatever. Like that has been like memeing and whatever everywhere. It was all over Twitter. Everybody was talking over it on Twitter and whatever. The Stop Trump movement. I personally, to me, could not believe. I'm proud, really, to be fair. I'm proud because it's like not often do we really rally together for the same reason. You know what I mean? Like, not really everybody comes out of the house in public all on the same movement, and to have everybody kind of rally together and in person is awesome. Some of the signs and whatnot are great. If you guys haven't seen them,
some of the protester signs were jokes. Honestly, anybody who's listening or going to listen, if you haven't seen any, just go onto Google and Google Donald Trump protest signs London, because some of them are hilarious.
Donald Trump is a fart, is what I saw.
I think my favourite had to be picture of Neil from the In-Betweeners. It just said White House wanker.
It's pretty crazy. I think he was in. When was he here? Was he here? Was it
like 2 days
Wednesday?
ago?
No,
it was only a few days ago.
Yeah. He was basically this week. He was basically weekend. Everybody was just rallying together to stop this asshole. I'm not a big fan of him, as you can probably tell.
If you are, you're a redneck fuck.
I think the police work.
I said your brother's your uncle.
I mean,
We had with Donald Trump being here, it had one of the greatest police forces seen since the royal wedding. I think there was like 40,000 police officers.
Yeah, dude, that is insane. The police had their work cut out for them.
Yeah,
and it was hot outside too.
Trust me, innit? Like I don't think anybody has seen such a large collection of sweaty bacon before in their lives.
Dude, everybody's kind of like on top of buildings and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? Has anyone ever watched like the ring ceremony for the NBA? You know when they, you know when the NBA, and it was out on the streets like. That's what it reminded me of.
So,
yeah, man. There's not really much I gotta really say about it. Just kind of just shedding light on it. Donald Trump.
For any of our American subscribers, we're now leaving it up to you. Keep him. We don't want him, but don't let him come back. If he plans to, tell him B, you're staying here. Keep him.
Just coup. Now's the time for a coup. Do it.
Oh yes, he's out of the country. Quick, take over the White
Look
House.
him out. Look him out the country.
Alright, man. I'm pretty much done.
Trust
Then
me,
it was
it's like
anything
Brexit,
else they want to add?
but Trump's it, bruv. Leave or remain.
Even Brexit. It's just.
Let's just.
He told Theresa May to
To what?
Say
So he told
Sue the EU.
Sue the EU.
You know what? This podcast is done. See you lot later. Bye.
No, they also want to add anything else. Rapid.
There is one thing, but somebody can go first before. Let me get what I need up.
Okay. Follow us on social media if you haven't already, people. You know, Power Guy Gaming on YouTube. I'm also that Power Guy Gaming. Definitely check me out. Power Guy on Twitter. Check me out, man. Check me out, big. Shout out to your social media, bro. Yeah.
Alright, so you can check me out on Snapchat, that is Autobots Unite. Twitter, that is Big Imperial _, and Instagram, straight Big Imperial, and obviously my YouTube page is Big Imperial as well.
Yeah, hey, Schumann.
And check out his new game out now, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
How long are you gonna do that?
Got him.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Shubes. Where can you get more Shubes?
Just on YouTube.
Well, when's that Harry Potter coming out? Huh?
Yeah, like, yeah. I've been editing. I'm editing it for how many weeks now? We're in July, cuz.
I've really been waiting because I really want to see it because the ending was just like I was like, no, I'm down to see the rest of it.
Alright.
Exactly.
Alright, if I ain't got to go out today, I'll work on it.
Yeah! Hey, sleep. Tell
For the kingdom.
For the kingdom, you know.
For the kingdom, Jesus.
Okay, so I'm on Instagram. It's slp.elt. I'm on Twitter at slp_elt. You can find me on Snapchat if you really want to. I don't really use Snapchat like that, but if you want to add me on it, that's cool. It's obiwancoonobi, but it's like it's not the same spelling. Let's put it that way. It'll be in my description below. I think that's it.
And Tonka, where can you get more Tonka, bro?
Yeah, like I don't really do a lot of YouTube stuff, but if people want to come and play with me on Steam and whatnot, it's my username is the same username on here. It's just Tonka96. So just yeah, give me an ad, and then yeah, if you want to play some games, let me know.
Yeah, I need to add to your Steam.
Don't even
Fucking rude, man.
What a bastard.
Hey, Tonka, another question. Are you gonna get PS4?
Yeah, PS4, man.
What?
Christ.
I've been telling this guy for the longest.
Right, okay, I'm looking into it. I want to get a PS4. It's literally just the money at the moment. That's all it is. It's just money. If I can afford it, I'll get it. If I, it's just a case of when I can afford it more than anything else.
Well, we'll be here until you get it.
Guys, we're going to set up a donation page.
Hey, sleep.
Alright, so there's a couple of games that are coming out. So games that have just dropped. There's 3 of them. There's Captain Toad Treasure Tracker that's out for the Switch and the 3DS. 3DS. Alright, Trevor. There is also Earthfall that came out. All these games came out on the same day. So on the 13th of July, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker on the 3DS and the Switch, Earthfall on the PS4, the Xbox One and PC, and Octopath Traveler, which I picked up for myself on the Switch. And there's also in 2 days' time on the 17th, Adventure Time Pirates of the Enchiridion. I think that's how I'm pronouncing it. That's for the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC. And also there's Sonic Mania Plus, also coming for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And also, if you're an Overwatch player and you're on console, I'm not sure about if this is 100%. But I think tomorrow is when Hammond is actually coming into the game. I'm not sure what time, but I heard that it's most likely it potentially could be the 16th, which is tomorrow. So if you're an Overwatch player, check it out.
Oh yeah, if you got Twitch Prime, go on and claim your free games. They were doing 21 free games this month or something like that in celebration of Amazon Prime Day or whatever that's coming up. They've been giving away a free game every day. Since
is it?
whenever it was.
What, on what console?
No, it depends. It's PC.
Oh, okay. Oh, if I take it my hopes up.
Alright, people. That's pretty much it. That's
Hey, special thanks to Tonka for coming along, though. It's been a pleasure having you.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, no worries, guys. I'll
Yeah,
definitely come down next time if you need me.
Hey.
Nah, we're good.
Mad. Hey, but you know what though? If Big's ever late, you're definitely the replacement, and I will lock this chat so he can't come back in.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
That's right, and you know why I can? Because I made the server.
Powered down.
Trust me, you'll get powered down real fast. That's it. Oh, also 2019. PowerCon. It's going to be.
Hey! Okay, don't know 2019, but in the future, I believe we will have
Trust me, all
PowerCon.
of us, we're all going to link up, we're going to play games.
In the near future.
Sick. I won't lie, PowerCon might be a thing where we all just get to stay in our respective homes, because you know what? That's better than paying travel, alright?
I don't know, people.
There'll be better food. So we've got some jollof.
Trust me, we'll send pictures so it can be like
Shiro jumps in.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not down for the rice and ketchup, but we've got other food. But yeah, don't know PowerCon in the future. Just like my mixtape, dropping in 2024.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else anyone wants to go off the chest?
Bruv, it's so hot. Oh, I'm dying.
Oh, I see. Alright, man. Thank you for watching, people.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. Go.
No, I was gonna say, what were we all playing?
Oh, right now, on PS4, I'm playing Street Fighter, GTA, and there's something else, but I don't remember.
Destiny,
yeah. And on the Switch, I'm playing. I'm gonna start Octopath Traveler. I might even stream it for all of y'all's enjoyment. So,
Cool.
yeah. But I'm streaming Street Fighter first, though. We're gonna beat Alpha 2, and it's gonna be righteous.
I'm playing Dead Rising 2 at the moment. Just finished Dead Rising 1. Got ending S, the true ending.
Ending.
Be playing it actually pretty soon, in about 2 hours from now. That'll be 7 p.m. London
London time, GMT, England time, UK time, whatever. So definitely go check me out, subscribe,
Check me out,
all that
son.
good stuff.
Road to 400 followers, 400 subscribers. Sorry.
Yeah, 6 more.
400 subscribers, 6 more. You're almost there. What about you? What are you playing?
I am currently playing FIFA 18 career mode. I'm playing Beyond Two Souls. I'm gonna restart. I re-downloaded Bloodborne, so
Oh,
I might have
to.
I might have to re-hit that on the stream. So hence why you guys haven't had a lot of videos coming out for me because I've been moving house. I've finished moving.
Woo!
So
Congratulations!
oh, it was such a before I end this.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
so imagine
Story time.
story time. Yeah, imagine.
Hit the 2 hour
So I
mark.
got 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, because my house currently isn't far from my old house I was moving from. So I was like, I don't really need to spend the whole day moving. I could just move bits and bobs or whatever, right?
Right?
I go to move my TV.
There's a spider behind the TV that's made a home.
There's a rabbit.
Nah, I know the story. It's way worse.
Oh no, there's a used condom stuck in your speaker.
The fuck?
Huh? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but carry on before
Wow. Yeah, so I'm like, you know what, yeah, because I know my stature, I know, society ain't really out here doing me the best justice, so moving a big TV in broad daylight ain't gonna be, the best thing. So I decided to do it at the dead at night when I know no one's there.
Yes, because that's a better idea.
Guy.
Here we
Fucking
go.
moron!
Here we go. What even happened?
Long story short, I got stopped by police.
Moron. What do you expect? This is your justification. This is exactly like when you went, oh, it's Coochie Bang Bang, not Gucci Bang Bang because I don't want to get copyright. You fucking idiot.
So yeah,
Oh my
I got questions, got stopped, and I was like, do I really have to show you guys like my proof of address and shit, because this is my TV. He's gonna be taking his big Brock up TV. Like the TV might as well
At
have
the
a back.
dead of night, though, like that,
I know.
it looks suspicious.
The way he justified himself not doing it in the day is exactly why he shouldn't do it at night. I think that confuses me.
No, well, it happened, okay? Obviously.
Oh, you are a goat of all goats, and I do not mean the greatest of all time. I mean the physical goat. Oh god, this is the longest edit to the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Can we end it?
it's the Power Up podcast. It's been your us guys, and we'll
It's
catch
been
you
your
next
us
time.
guys. Alright everybody, it's been the Powered Up podcast. It's been them, us man them, pow guy, sleep, big, shoom, tonk. We out of here. Peace. We'll catch you for in episode 7 next week. We're gonna talk about other stuff. Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie.